if you want him to take from you, you first have to get very comfortable with your no and also recognize that taking isn't for you, right? Like
For
the
him.
practice of being in that energy is for him, not for
Uh-huh.
you. And if you want to be taken a very specific way, that get clear about what your ask is, right? Like, what does that look like for you? You want to be pushed up against a wall? Great. You have to ask for that. You want to be tied up?
Mhm.
Great. You have to ask for that. Like
Yeah.
the model, the flavor of what you want isn't necessarily him taking because that's for him. That's his own thing.
Welcome to the BodyJoy After Office Hours podcast. Today I'm talking with Casia, who identifies as a professional slut featuring integrity, boundaries, and God. Casia has an incredible, rich background as a facilitator, sex educator, and sexological bodyworker based in Victoria, BC. She works individually as well as with her husband in deep erotic immersions and retreat spaces. In our convo, Kasha shares about her experience with supporting couples in this dynamic where women are wanting to be taken from and men feel unsafe to do so. She also shares a fascinating concept, the axial age, and I definitely invite you to check into this. I hope you enjoy the convo. Kasha, thank you so much for being here.
Mango-licious.
For those of you just joining us, I do have a nickname of Mango, and not everyone knows that, so I love that you're using it.
It's the only way I actually can refer to you. It's so weird to call you Melissa. So
It
you
is
are
odd.
a juicy little mango to me.
I'm more of a sensual fruit. You're
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Exactly.
Speaking of sensual fruit, you described yourself as because I send out these fun little forms, even though I know you or know a lot about you already, but you described yourself as a professional slut featuring
Yeah.
integrity, boundaries, and God.
Yeah.
So, yeah, can you unpack what that phrase means to you specifically and maybe how
Oh,
you practice it in the world?
yeah.
Mm.
You know, in um in the attempt to move away from capitalism internally in my own brain and body and being, the use of the word professional already is like, but when I reflect back on my life and all of the slutty behavior that I engaged in, um, it makes the most sense to say that all was just training for how I get to offer myself to the world now. Which is just being in present connection with the person in front of me and
Uh,
staying in my own integrity while supporting them through their own erotic journey. And
uh-huh,
to me, that is God, right? Like
uh-huh, uh-huh.
to
It's
to
funny.
not lose yourself and stay in.
Yeah. And I imagine you use that in just in your relational dynamics, but also your professional dynamics.
Yes, I mean, I would say that I feel so lucky to have figured out a way to bring my own slutty behaviors into the work field. What a gift, truly. So it worked both ways. It worked in my relationship with my husband, who is also a professional slut, and also professionally. Yeah,
I imagine some of our listeners have a lot of question marks right now.
I hope so.
I hope so too. As you were even saying that, a little thing popped up just that I hear in our culture of like, okay, well, back when I was a slut in my early 20s, but now I'm, this other older age and I have a family and children. I'm not a slut anymore. So I'm wondering, like, how are you different back then? Because you have a big history of being a part of a sex positive community and actually being a pretty established educator, like in your early 20s, if not younger. And so, what are the main differences now as a mother, as professional, navigating life with your family and your husband?
Ah, you know, I have so much gratitude for the slutty years of my 20s and prior, literally, probably from when I was about 15 onwards. because I feel that they allowed me to stay connected to that part of myself through motherhood. Um, and I mean, I think that in my 20s, I was looking for something, and I felt closest to that something when I was in highly intriguing situations. When you bring erotic into the world with a stranger or someone you're going into such unknown, interesting territory that never failed to deeply compel me. It didn't matter
Mm.
who it was. I was always learning something about myself or them. Um, and being in that space, yeah, I mean, I started online dating at 17. I lied. I lied about my age on the app so I could get on the app. And then it became my favorite hobby was just dating and hooking up with people and being like, "What is this? What is going on?" So when I became a mother, uh, I actually had to undo some of what became like habitual pattern of just thinking that I needed to be dating because
Hmm.
I was in a non-monogamous relationship. When in truth, in motherhood, it's really sweet to go back through all my journals. It's like I'm going to remember this phase of my life as the phase that I longed for myself. And
Hmm.
so it became this recognition within myself that the time that it took to do online dating and meet random people in the world and have hookups was actually taking away from the time that I was requiring with myself. Like if there was a
Mhm.
window where I could have time, I actually just needed that with me.
Mhm.
So that was the primary shift. But, as a single person, you have so much time. A single parentless person,
Oh my
there's a lot
God.
of
Yeah.
time.
So much time.
So much time.
Yep.
And now my time is limited, and I also am being very met erotically. And I know that that's a reflection of the work that I've put in previous to meeting Cosmo, but also our own mutual interest in maintaining this connection with each other, of recognizing that our relationship can offer more to both of us than either of us can do alone.
Mm.
Yeah.
That sounds so sweet. Love that.
Yeah.
So you and Cosmo,
Really
so
beautiful.
just for our listeners, so Kasia and I are practitioners within the Himrose project. And we all met actually at the training, sexological body workers training, somatic sex educators, like what, 7, almost 8 years ago ish. Is that my
What
timeline
is
correct?
it was 2017.
Yeah, 2017. And then out of that, yeah, came this retreat that y'all put together. And I was there in the early years. And so now, you and Cosmo are married now how many years?
I mean, almost the same amount. We got married like 8 months later. We've been married for 7 years.
7 years. So yeah, so now you and Cosmo are raising a family. And how do the two of you navigate this dance between sacred partnership, the open relating, parenthood? What keeps that strong bond amidst all of this? Because some may see that as total chaos. Um, like, whoa, a
Yeah.
lot of layers there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Um, how do we well, you know, uh, I flirt with him a lot, and I think that probably helps, but that's just like a small piece of a grander practice,
Mhm.
dare I say, right? It's the recognition that both of us wanted to do this work when we met. We were both at the training. I was
Mhm.
already involved in sex ed. Cosmo got pulled in to be a practitioner almost immediately. So we were it was just this foundation of our relationship that we had this understanding and agreement that we would be working erotically with other people.
Mhm.
Um, at the time, Cosmo was exploring his own relationship to non-monogamy, and I had been non-monogamous for my whole adult life as soon as I understood the concept. Um, and it was something that I could offer him. I was like, "Sure, you wanna explore this part of yourself? Like, I'm regulated enough around this that I can be with you in this and support your exploration." Um, Interestingly enough, though, it was the sharing him with the children and the other ex-mothers and the boss that actually were the grander practices of non-monogamy. It's like, "Oh, there's some deep
Yeah.
sharing happening here," and that the extra stuff, like the fun, slutty experiences, were just so easy comparatively. Um, but it was only a couple of years ago that we kinda had this awakening moment of being like, "Wait a second, our work is non-monogamous. Like, we are going into deep erotic places regularly with other people, and
Mhm.
that is non-monogamy." And we hadn't really clocked it as something that was taking energy from our relationship in that way, in the same way. So
Mhm.
to have that acknowledgement was actually really important. It's like, "Okay, why does this feel draining to have other things happening outside of work?" It's like, wait a second. It's because we're already sharing each other within this work experience. And because we work together, right? Like I catch the women, he just finger banged, and he catches the men, and I just jerked off, right? It's like this weird, um,
'Cause that's all it
like,
is, right? Yeah, okay.
yeah, yeah. Basically, essentially comes down to, after a lot of presence and care and attunement, it
Right,
comes
yes.
down to.
Yeah.
Um, Yeah, so it's been a practice, and one that, we both have a deep sense of regulation around now with a lot of practice.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I imagine it helped, like, you coming in with all of your life, experience of non-monogamy and then him being in this very curious place and the 2 of you coming together and doing the work as sexologic body workers in retreat, doing partnered stuff. I'm curious about, your work with couples because 'cause you're doing immersions more these days, and tell me about like, what are some of the common ways. 'Cau okay, let me back up actually, because when you mentioned, Cosmo finger banging clients and you're jerking off the client, some people may look at our profession as sexological body workers as that. And sure, it
Uh-huh.
may include full body touch and banging and fantasy and all this stuff. But let's get into like the deeper juice often,
Yeah.
especially working with couples, when they come to you or I and they're like, "Hey, we have some curiosities, or maybe there's something not quite working, but we're committed to the relationship, or we want to take our intimacy to the next level." What are some things that you and Cosmo really, like, bring home for people? And, yeah, can you go into that a little bit?
Yeah, of
Mhm.
course. And I mean, I like I throw the, finger banging and jerking people off in there because I'm in this, like, anti-capitalistic modality. It's like, that is healing. Those things in themselves, if they're wanted and desired by someone, are really healing. They're really
Yeah.
healing experiences. And of course, there's so much love that's there for that to even happen, right? If someone doesn't feel love in the room, it's gonna feel really different.
Mhm.
But for couples, I digress. Um, for couples, it's been really beautiful. I will It's a really such a gift to be a woman working erotically with men, um, and where you are, in contact with the most vulnerable parts of them, and you can see them in a wider scope than how our culture at large is currently seeing men. Um, and there's so much. I don't know if you also are getting this on Instagram or TikTok, but there's just so many jokes about, like, unfortunately, I'm attracted to men. And
Yeah.
there's all the right? Like, it's this,
Yeah,
like,
yeah, exactly.
fuck, I'm into men, but I don't want to be. And, there's something really problematic in that. And I'm not unacknowledging that, there is work for men to do in these areas to allow for deeper connections with women in their lives. But it's not a one-way street. It's a
Correct.
two-way street, right? And
Yep.
this inquiry of like, I'm aware of how beautiful my relationship with Cosmo is, and it doesn't mean that it hasn't been hard at times, or that there hasn't been crunchy moments, or that him learning about me and my body and my 4-week cycle doesn't interfere with him and his body and his 24-hour cycle, right? Like there's so many adjustments that we both make to kind of hold the other one in high regard. And I think
Hmm.
that's probably the biggest piece is holding your partner in high regard. Even if you don't necessarily like that the way they're behaving, you're like, you are the person that I have chosen, and that is worth something to me. And
Hmm.
how I treat you in these moments is a reflection of me, not of you,
A thousand
right?
percent. Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So, in witnessing couples, there's a lot of not that. There's not a lot of, not high regard. You know, I am a huge I love devotion, I love reverence, and if I can't have those in my relationship with the person I've chosen, then where the fuck am I gonna get them? Right? Like,
Right.
that's that's the altar that I return to, is this source of love and companionship and high regard that we can return to. It's like, okay, the more we feed this, the more we give this our time and energy and effort, the more both of us are going to get back from it. So
Hmm.
the balancing of often this is the pattern. Often it's women who want to be taken and men who don't feel safe doing that because
Yep.
they don't want to do it wrong, and women thinking that they are doing it wrong, their partners are doing it wrong. So it's a very specific, like, I want you to take me a very specific way, which is not actually taking. That's service,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And so the clarification of if you want him to take from you, you first have to get very comfortable with your no and also recognize that taking isn't for you. Right? Like,
For
the
him.
practice of being in that energy is for him, not for
Mhm.
you. And if you want to be taken a very specific way, that get clear about what your ask is, right? Like, what does that look like for you? You wanna be pushed up against a wall? Great, you have to ask for that. You wanna be tied up?
Mhm.
Great, you have to ask for that. Like,
Yeah.
the model, the flavor of what you want isn't necessarily him taking, because that's for him. That's his own thing.
Yep.
So it's this practice of, like, allowing in a really authentic way where you can be clear, and then also being in receipt, the accepting. It's all wheel of consent.
Mhm. Yep.
Yeah.
I just got off a conversation with JD, who's a daddy dom, and we talked about some of this, where in a lot of hetero relationships, that dynamic pops up. She wants to be taken. He's feeling a little like either just unsure and ungrounded, or like what you were saying, unsafe, because maybe there's been some ruptures or something else that has happened. And so, how do you reestablish the trust again and figure out, well, yeah, what does taking actually look like, and can you actually ask for it? And then, I also, in that same breath, will hear women say something like, well, just do something to me. I don't want to map it out for you. And he's trying to get consent, and so everyone's in this like space. Yeah, I'm sure you see that.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, how do you personally resolve when that comes up, or how do you work with that in an immersion container? Um,
Yeah. One of the biggest somatic noticings is, women who want to be taken are floppy. They're
I'm picturing a
physiologically yeah, they're
yeah.
floppy. They're like, "I'm waiting for you to do something to me," but they're not
Uh huh.
creating tension.
Uh huh.
Right? Which is like standing in your own self, and if he's, like, pushing into you, giving him something to push against, right?
Hmm.
Like, it's really hard to like feel energetically like you can take from someone if they're just floppy. Unless that's
Yeah.
the agreement you have, right? It's like, okay, you're going to be a little doll while I explore you and you don't have any muscles and lie there. But in this exploration of taking, I think tension is
Hmm.
one of the most important things that we can discover as women. It's like, I don't have to submit to you in the way that I think I do. I can like offer you my power and feel you push against it and choose when I become a little floppier, right?
Hmm.
Like there's the choice of tension. And so I regularly witness that where it's just like a very energetically floppy
Yeah.
woman and
Come
then a
do
man
something to me.
trying to do something but like working with a rag doll.
Yeah.
Right? So that's a very common one where I'm like, you have to like bring yourself into this because if he can't feel your no or your resistance, there's nothing really, it's hard to work with that.
Yeah.
Um
It reminds me
and
of
I
dance.
Yeah,
Like
it
when
is.
you're dancing with someone, you actually have, as the follower, let's say, you have to give your leader, aka Daddy Dom or whatever title you want to wear, you have to give them something to, the resistance. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Speaking of dance, this was like a peak experience I just recently had. Cosmo
Ooh.
and I were at a wedding, close friends of ours, lovers of ours. And the dancing clinic, that's not just fucking, but like a somatic practice for so many years, near daily experiences. And we fell into this, I don't even know. It was like power meets contact improv meets ritual play. And it was like
Yum.
like every minuscule movement that he made to my body, I felt and allowed. And then when I wanted to bring my own something, he felt and allowed. And it was just like this gorgeous unfurling. And we got so many people come up to us afterwards and be like, "Do you guys teach this?
Yeah, can we learn
Can you
that?
what is this? What are you doing?" It was a really interesting experience. I remember saying to Cosmo in that moment, I'm like, "Are we the best dancers ever, or is that just me right now?" But like, I'm not a
Yum.
trained dancer, right? Like, I move in my body in a way that feels good, and I'm attuned to him and his movements, and I trust him deeply. And
Mhm.
so that experience unfolded in such a cool way. I was like, "Fuck, there's something here. We just found something really
I
cool." And
love it. Beautiful.
but it is like dancing for sure.
Mhm, mhm. And yeah, how to take that lived experience, somatic people as erotic body workers, and then translate or download that into people that come to you, us, for that I hate to use download, but yeah, how do you get that and teach that so then they can live
Yeah.
that way, have that
Yes.
flowing dance versus like, "Okay, what are we doing?" Which is so
Yeah.
common, unfortunately. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah,
Hmm.
totally. And that fear, the fear in men of harming their
Mhm.
partner, it's so high, so high. And like we want
Mhm.
that, right? We want there to be a recognition that that's possible, right? We want them I want my husband to know who is I know could hold me down at the, you know, he's exceptionally stronger than me. Like I cannot fight him off.
Mhm.
Um, I want to know that he knows that, right? That's an important thing. But in that is also like, can you titrate your power so that it's not lost? Like, I want to
Yeah.
feel you, but maybe not at 100%.
Yeah.
Like, give
Yeah.
me 20.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm. I love that. So I want to go into something you mentioned on your little form, the erotic mother
The erotic
and the
mother.
axial
Yeah.
age.
The axial age. Okay, this is like, I'm so excited about this concept.
I
So
love how
this
your
was,
hands came together
yeah,
at your chest
I
just
know.
as you said that.
I love it so much. Um, I'm almost embarrassed at how often I reference I learned this on TikTok, but I learned this on TikTok
Really?
where
I got
yeah, it
kicked
was
off of TikTok, so I love that you screenshot your TikToks
yeah.
and send them to me. Yeah, got bounced out of there. They're like, "We'll have
Yeah.
none of that." whatever you're doing.
Just so the world knows that one of Mango's love languages is to send me reels. They're either Facebook or Instagram reels, and I'm so anti Instagram or Facebook reels. And I send her TikToks. I'm like, look how much better this is, but she can't open them. So I have figured out how to record my screen so that she can watch them. Anyway,
Oh, I
that's
feel
my
so
love
loved. I feel loved.
language. I'm like, you will watch this.
You found a way.
Um, I found a way, a loophole. But so this was on TikTok was a partial clip of a 30-minute talk given by Elizabeth Gilbert, who
Mm.
wrote Eat, Pray, Love.
Mhm.
But I really encourage you to like widen your scope to her beyond just that book because she's a really incredible writer and speaker. Um, and she was talking about the axial age, and the axial
Hmm.
age is when all of these religions came into our historic landscape. So Christianity, Buddhism, Hinduism, they all kind of started to arise around the same time. And what the main theme was they were powerful, charismatic men who came to the conclusion that conquest and conquer were actually not supportive to community. They were like, we need to practice compassion and justice and put our thoughts towards caretaking of the people who are the sickest or the elderly or the children or the weakest in our communities so that we can hold them better. Right. So they had this
Wow.
awakening moment where they realized that they needed to be more like women.
Yep. Imagine that.
Right. Which
I
is
think we're due time for that to happen again, like right now, right?
right. Right. Um, which is great, right? Like as a society, we want men to have this realization that their power needs to be used to support community, not to take,
Mhm.
take, 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 take.
Mhm.
Um, and what happened though in that phase was they created dogma around this all. They were like, okay, well, everyone needs to be more compassionate. But who was doing all this labor before men had this realization? Women, right?
Mhm.
And so what happened was that women got doubled down on with this concept that they needed to be more giving, more compassionate, have more justice, and more awareness of their communities when they were already doing that labor. And so what Elizabeth Gilbert is pointing out is that um, for men to move from the profane masculine to the divine masculine, they needed to open their lens to have more compassion. But for women to move from the profane feminine into the divine feminine was that they needed to actually have a boundary.
Mm. Sexy.
Right?
Man. Yes.
Right? Right? I know. It's the recognition of like, can I authentically offer from my cup right now or
Mhm.
not? Like, what is my boundary? And she essentially is saying that in order to do this, you have to draw a sacred circle around yourself. You have to
Mm.
have the awareness that, first and foremost, I was given this body. And first and foremost, it is my priority to tend to and take care of this body. And therefore, I am sacred.
Mm.
And as soon as you have that awareness, every interaction that you have around you comes back to this, do I feel sacred? Right? Do I feel like this person feels that I'm sacred? And having that awareness between you and the world as a woman. I mean, this is the cool part where I was like, this was like percolating in me for so long. And
Mm.
I'm like, when I considered it in relationship to our work, and I'd be curious to get your thoughts on this, but I was like, I actually think in hearing that, it reflected a greater understanding of working with men erotically, that saying no to their desire was often the bigger gift,
Yes. I wholeheartedly agree.
right?
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah.
And then I had this reflection that, like, okay, so men will pay to go see full service sex workers, but then they will pay more to go see a dominatrix. And what do
Mhm.
dominatrixes do? They say no, and they have the they get to choose, right? They have a lot of voice and power in those moments of like, you don't get to touch me. I tell you when you get to touch me. It's
Mhm.
like, oh, you want me to pee on you? How nice. How nice for you that you want that. I'll feel into it. I'll
Yeah.
decide when or if I want to do that,
Yeah.
right?
So them getting a chance to actually feel the power, feel the boundary, feel the no and the choice versus like, hey, everything's just on the table, which is another fun
Yeah,
game too.
it's
Yeah.
another fun game. And,
Mhm.
like, not to say that it doesn't have its own purpose,
Yeah.
but I have learned in my own practice that actually having wider boundaries is less helpful to male clients than having firmer ones.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's more supportive to them and their healing and their journey and their erotic integrity if I am authentically in my, "Do I wanna let you touch my boobs right now?
Mhm.
No,
Yeah.
but
Is
you can
this
look
in
at them."
service? Yeah. Is this in
Yeah.
service of, again, whatever? Yeah.
Yeah, and in service, sure, but also just, like, authentically my own desire and availability, right? Like,
Yeah.
trusting that if it's a no, that there's a
Yeah.
reason, and
Yeah.
whether I know that reason or not is actually irrelevant, but to trust that it's there for some reason.
Mhm. Yeah.
Anyway, I'm, like, obsessed with this concept because I think it also speaks to what we were just talking about in terms of, like, women having tension, like, creating
Uh,
this tension. It's not just like, "Take me, whatever, like, whatever you want, just take me." It's like, "Take me with these boundaries in place,"
uh-huh.
right? Like, "Yes, you can tie me up, but not my hands," right? Like, whatever it is, it's like that the piece around anyway, that's
Yeah.
I'm just very excited about it.
I was at this conference, it must have been a couple years ago, where it was all just leaders and teachers in the sexuality realm. So it was all just like black belts and all the things. And we were teaching workshops with each other. Anyway, one cool thing that I really loved, and I'm curious if you've noticed this in your community, is that like there was a desire just amongst the camp of the entire festival that just took over this entire hotel, right? So there was a desire of like, okay, so and so wants to have a experience a gangbang. And then they had a point person. And so the point person went and had a criteria, a little list. Okay, you're looking for this type of person that brings this kind of element. And they did the negotiation. So in as the festival's happening, there's this point person going around interviewing potentials to fulfill this fantasy. And I'm like, that's super sweet. What a cool friend. Like
What a cool what a cool friend. Yeah,
Like, you have a desire, I'm gonna help you fulfill it, and
yeah,
it was
that's
just so much
beautiful.
care. What I noticed was, like, all the care and attention in the interviewing, and yeah, it was super sweet.
Like the desire fairy.
That should be a booth. Ooh,
Yeah,
give me some
it should
ideas.
be.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mm.
Cosmo's my point person, which I'm very grateful for as, an introvert who is not so interested in talking all that much, but
Mhm.
he will arrange my erotic hookups for me, and he will manage any interactions if we're at a party together. Like, it works very well for me.
Wow, and so this would be, like, at a play party, a public event, where everyone shows up and they're all on board, and then he listens to your desires of the night and goes and finds it for you.
Or yeah, he's like the ringmaster. I have this is my current desire that we haven't done yet, but
Okay, let's hear
it's
it.
gonna happen, where I wanna be blindfolded and mute the entire time. I don't wanna see who's in the room at all, but he can choose what he wants other people to do to me.
And I imagine this comes, from years of trust and knowing and
Yeah,
understanding, and so you're trusting him, and he's
yeah,
I love that.
right? Isn't that
Oh,
fun?
it was really
Yeah.
fun. So just
And I mean, like, there's been elements of like, "Oh, I didn't love that experience," or maybe we would try this differently that time. But I think that's what, the anatomy of desire offers us is that we can go and have these experiences, and then there's the opportunity for reflection, right? It's like just
Mhm.
because it wasn't perfect or didn't check all your boxes doesn't mean that you can't adjust it to something that might fit better the next time.
Mhm. Yeah, having those kind of conversations. I work with a number of couples that have, these fantasies kind of rolling around in their minds that they want to do individually or together, and having that framework is so helpful so that they can kind of unpack all of that and care for each other in the situation, and kind of cue it up. And then maybe it happens or maybe it doesn't. But if it does happen, then there's a coming back to the drawing board and yeah, I
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Ah, yeah. I'm curious about um when I met you, you were doing a workshop on porn literacy.
Oh,
Do
yeah.
you remember that?
I do. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a big part of my life.
Yeah. Do you want to share a little bit about like what inspired that and what you offer through that?
Yeah. I mean, I think one of the biggest gifts that we have as humans is to be in like I'm gonna use the word critical, but really just like thoughtful analysis of what we're consuming, right? Like in this happens in so many different ways. Food, content on our phones,
Hmm.
like there's just shopping, like what are we consuming? And how is it serving us? And so when I started that workshop, I had been involved in creating I mean, consensual content, and it's a weird thing to even say, but I was in a really big sex positive community, and there were so many people who were just game to just have sex on camera the way that they wanted to have sex on camera. Um, and I mean, to say that we were trying to capture authentic erotic moments is almost it's hard to do when there's a camera in the room, like
Totally.
instantly. As soon as there's a camera in the room, it's going to be different.
Yeah.
But with that understanding, they were that like so much voice and choice. Like, who do you want to do the scene with? How do you want to feel? What do you want to do? Are you using condoms? Are you not using condoms? Like, do you want candles? Do you want music? We couldn't really do music a lot because of the filming, but um, it called in this awareness that the content that we were creating was different than what you see in mainstream porn. And so I started to just actually look at how it was different. And so things like pacing, right? Like a lot of mainstream porn is very fast. Things like female pleasure, things like lighting, things like what kinds of bodies are you seeing, right? There's so many elements that once you actually start to be like critical about what you're seeing, what are the repetitive themes,
Mhm.
that so many people don't know that there is different porn, right? Like it's like watching Fast and the Furious or like sitting down and watching a Studio Ghibli film. I know this is a really weird reference to me, but I do this.
Love it.
But when I watch like kids movies with my daughter, often they're like very fast paced and very bright and very colorful. But when you watch the Studio Ghibli movies, like um I don't you know what I'm talking about? It's like Totoro and Spirited Away. The
Yes.
pacing is so different.
It's way different. There's
It's way
yeah,
different,
everything's
right?
different. Yeah.
Everything.
Mhm.
And the truth about sex is that it's often much different than what you're seeing in porn.
Absolutely.
And I think that's where a lot of young men I mean, a lot of young people in general, right? It's like women thinking they need to be like that, but men thinking they also need to be like that
Mhm.
is where so much of our sex education problems come from,
Yes.
thanks to states. Um, but in that the slowing it down, so we were creating porn that was cinematic, that was, showing bodies that were different, that was showing people in their authentic pleasure. It wasn't so male entertainment focused so much as it was just like, "Let's capture what's actually happening here."
Mhm.
And I think that's where the literacy element comes in. It's like being critical of what you're consuming and how is it serving you.
Mhm. Do you find a lot of male clients coming to you that either, self-diagnose themselves as like, "Hey, I have a porn addiction," or maybe like a therapist said that? Yeah, is that something that you see in your practice?
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah, a lot.
yeah, and so what's your approach? I'm curious your approach, to kind of through the sexological bodywork lens, what are some of the steps or, like, the series of sessions and what they might look like if someone feels like, "Hey, I'm addicted to porn," or, "Hey, I need porn in order to get aroused," or, like, "I need it in the room," or, like, some of those elements?
Yeah. Well, I'm obviously not anti-porn. So, but I also will not erase someone's, gut feeling that maybe they should take a break,
Uh-huh.
right? Like, if they're coming in saying that they're addicted to porn, I'm not gonna try and convince them that they're not.
Uh-huh.
Um, I think it's the same way that I'm probably addicted to TikTok, right? Like, I will sit down and watch it, and my brain likes it, and it makes me happy. Is it good for me? Probably not. I don't know. Like a whole different thing.
Right.
But it's probably pretty similar in just, like, the dopamine hits. But it is training their bodies to be in pleasure in front of a screen with external input that is not in the present reality.
Uh-huh.
So, um, it's getting men connected more to their bodies, but also if they're gonna go home from that session, like the primary thing is to use the screen to generate arousal and then put it down. And like to start to develop a repatterning of like you can put this away and if your arousal starts to dim again, you can bring it back in. But like to start to separate the two, like
Uh-huh.
can you be with the sensations in your body without that? Can you think about it in your head? Can you focus on what's going on?
Uh-huh.
And then just to like the presencing of it's truly I mean, I don't it's hard to remember, but I've in reflecting back, I don't know if you can remember, but when I started having sex, it didn't feel amazing.
Mine
Like
my
it
first time was I was like, "I waited 18 years for that? Boring."
right?
Yeah.
I know. The first thing I was 15 and the first thought my head was, I can't wait to tell my friends. It wasn't like, wow, that was a game changer. It was actually pretty uninteresting.
Mhm. Yep.
I mean, for whatever reasons, but it it reminded me that the place that I'm in my body now of, like, how much pleasure I'm capable of feeling now
Oh, yeah.
has been the practice
Yep.
of staying present to those sensations so that my neural capacity to feel all those things is extremely high,
Yes. It reminds me of, like, when
right?
I first got, I remember I had a boyfriend forever ago that was like, "Hey, let's do some G-spot work," there was, like, something, it was before, Instagram was really huge and all that, but it was like, "Okay, I wanna give you, like, a squirting orgasm," or, like, really, have you had this meltdown that we hear about in books and, podcasts on the G-spot, and I remember when we explored my G-spot, I was like, is that what is that? Like, I had a little bit of a disconnect, it wasn't quite there, and it took practice and, like, almost like getting my tissues in my body to come online, and now it's like it's a huge source of pleasure and arousal and, like, ecstatic bliss, which is so good. Yeah, you
Right?
might feel
The
nothing
the
before you feel something.
Yeah, and I think this is a really common thing for almost every single person that we work with,
Mhm.
right? It's especially women where there's I will assign homework, self-pleasuring homework that's different than just putting a vibrator right on your clit. It's like, are you breathing? Are you moving? Our regular
Yep.
little da 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 da.
Mhm.
And the resistance to doing those things is so high because the reward isn't instantaneous.
Yep.
And they're like, "There's something wrong with me. I'm broken." It's like, no, you actually just haven't been practicing pleasure.
Uh-huh.
You haven't been practicing expanding or paying attention to what your body is experiencing. And the only way through it is to do it. Like,
Yeah.
this is for you. It's not for me. I'm not feeling pleasure from you masturbating. Like, if you want more pleasure in your body, you need to be in the practice of paying attention to feeling pleasure in your body.
Mhm. Um, I love that you mentioned that. I was just working with a series of women that were experiencing, like, I don't wanna say vibrator dependence, I don't wanna shame anybody for using vibrators, but that was the only source of, like, heightened sensation and also any kind of, like, pleasure or, orgasm, and everything else
Mhm.
was just kind of boring. And I thought, well, yeah, it takes resensitizing and really taking the time and practicing. And so many of them are like, wait, what? This sounds so,
I know.
it's less exciting, right?
Well, I mean, that's the picture we've been painted, but I
Mm.
just spent like 40 minutes in the bathtub tickling my legs the other night, and it was amazing. Like, just my legs.
I love it. I love it. Yeah. We did a little birthday thing with some friends locally, and we had a little cuddle puddle, and then each of us would lead the group through various things. And one was just a touch portal, and it was not quite
Mhm,
the 3-minute game that Betty Martin does, where you really focus on the
mhm,
texture and moving things in your hands just for pleasure, sensate focus. But it was like
uh-huh,
putting your finger just on one little spot on someone else's body, and it could be just that's this little space between your thumb and your pointer finger, or this little, spot on someone's shoulder where there's a piece of cool fabric. But you really breathe and almost go into this portal space. So again, just bringing more awareness online, and maybe, going deep into something that normally you would just feel or look over entirely, but really teaching presence and receptivity. And yeah, you could spend hours just tickling your legs and actually get a lot out of it, but it takes practice. Yeah.
yeah. So this word that I learned, if I say it's fucking TikTok again,
Fucking TikTok.
but the word is havening, which is,
Havening.
light touch.
Mm.
Ooh. But I Googled it afterwards because it was scientifically proven that women specifically needed this kind of touch to feel safe and settled in their own bodies.
Wow. I love
Havening.
that.
I know,
Okay.
right? Havening. Of course, it's not whenever you say this is true for everyone, there's someone that's like, "That's not true for me." So,
Yeah.
within, the reasonable amount of percentage, but yeah. And I think what you said just about the portal, and so there's this, why question, like, why spend the time? Why would I do this? But I think you just nailed it, is because pleasure, I mean, at least for me, and this is what I refer to when I say God, right? It's pleasure is the closest experience that I have on a daily basis that I feel God.
Hmm.
It's like, if there is anything in my life that I could call God, it would be pleasure in my body,
I'm
right?
I'd have to agree.
Right? So, in taking the time to have this practice of being with your body, you are opening a portal to God. And I think this is why, the desire from men to penetrate women, or to penetrate in general, is this portal, right? Like, you're entering into this portal, and I mean, I feel this in my practice with my husband, right? Like, when we
Mhm.
have sex, it's like him inside me is a direct, it's like a heroin line to God. It's like, "Whoa,"
You're hooked right in there.
right?
Yes.
Hooked right in it. That's, like, years of practice, but it's, like, so deeply there for both of us
Mm.
that if I'm out of alignment with myself, if I'm not feeling present to the situation, if I'm feeling unsafe, it's not true for either of us anymore at all,
Yep.
right? And so the practice of, like, being in your body and having the boundaries and noticing, like, "Oh, wait a second, can we snuggle for 5 minutes first? I'm feeling, like, disconnected or ungrounded," or, "Will you tickle me?"
Mhm. Yeah.
Like, all these doors open towards the portal.
That's beautiful. Knowing what you need, in intimacy or in connection, especially with your partner, or maybe even just a lover or even a date. It doesn't have to look like no connection or we're penetrating. It could look like all these different ways to engage and to be together. Mm. I love that. Mm.
Can I plug our thing? Because this is really correlated to that.
Let's do it.
So, Cosmo, my husband,
Brilliant.
has logged. brilliant,
Brilliant
brilliant
man.
man. Um, I like to joke with him that he is like one of the charismatic leaders that could start a religion,
Absolutely.
right? Like he could get followers, like no problem. Like people will follow that man anywhere.
Yep.
But we like to reference that with he does it with choice,
Yeah.
right? Like he really encourages this like slowing down and noticing and feeling into your truth. And if it's a no, great, like perfect. Way to honor your truth. But he has logged over thousands of hours touching specifically women's bodies. And so, in our new iteration of what we're offering to the world, he and me, I'm doing the course with him, but he's the primary teacher of the art of touching women,
Mm.
how men touch and why it matters,
Mhm.
which is this, it opens this whole gateway, right? Of like women want their partners to be better lovers, men want to be better lovers. And it's like the how,
Yep.
the in between how you connect those two worlds. So I would not recommend learning from anybody else. I know I'm biased because he's my husband, but literally ask anyone who knows him. He's a really incredible teacher.
He's brilliant. Yeah. Wonderful. So
Yeah.
when is that workshop? And it one's free, right?
Yeah, we're doing a free hour-long intro.
Okay.
He is. I'm not part of that one, but I will be in we're doing a 7-week course that starts at the end of April, I'm pretty sure.
Mhm.
It's all on our website, himroseproject.com. But the free workshop, the first one is on December 3rd at 6 p.m.
Great.
And it's, yeah, free. So anyone who wants to sign up and just get like a little taster is
Mhm.
welcome to come and just feel into it.
Yeah, to meet Cosmo, get a taste for his work and see how he is, and then if you're inspired, people can then jump to the longer form, and it's totally reasonable too. I'm so glad he's doing that. Yeah, like seriously, doing God's work.
Literally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Aw,
Yeah. It makes so
wonderful.
much sense.
Mm. Kasha, it's so good to see you
You too, Megan.
and chat. And yeah, thank you for everything you do in the world. And yeah, is there anything else you want to share with our listeners? Any other places that they can find you online?
Well, I think it's just important to note that Mango and I have been working on retreats together for 7 years.
Uh-huh.
So really the only context we know each other in is like living together for a week or 2 weeks every year.
Uh-huh.
Um, and doing this really big, intense work together where we're seeing, 3 clients a day for 6 days in a row, offering erotic experiences, and how transformative those
Uh-huh.
retreats have been.
Uh-huh.
I mean, for me, but also just for every single person attending them.
Uh-huh.
Um, it's it's really such a gift and an honor to be able to work in that space. And I think I know we mentioned at the beginning, but I don't want to underestimate how big and beautiful the basic root of our relationship is.
Mm. Mm. Thanks for mentioning that. I look
Yeah.
forward to that time. That's something that it's like one of my little North Stars. I really look forward to that. Not only dropping with you, but just the alchemy of our friends and colleagues that come together and offer this space to a small number of men. So it's very
Yeah.
intimate, it's very deep, and there's so much care and thoughtfulness and attention into every single detail. It's really exquisite, and I can't wait for it to expand to a couple times a year. Yeah. Yeah.
Right, me too. Yeah. So if you're a man or have a man in your life, you should
Mhm.
send them to our retreats because they're super cool.
Mhm. Yeah. All right, Cash. Do you wanna plug your website and your Insta?
Sure. Yeah.
All right.
I'm my website is honeyandwater.ca
Mhm.
because it's like the nectar. It's like what you need is the water, but also the nectar,
Yes.
right? The honey.
We need it both.
Um safety and then pleasure. And my Instagram is Casia Sobolewski, which no one's gonna know how to spell, so I hope you write it down somewhere.
Well, yeah, we'll put it in the show notes.
Great.
All right, Cash, AKA Cash Money. I love you so much. Thanks for being here. All right.